In this session, we are going to look at moving the students from one grade or one class to another, as well as changing the names of the classes, as well as marking the students as inactive. Okay, to start, we are going to go to school, and I'm going to look first as changing the classes. I know sometimes the schools like to put the first letter of the surname of the teacher as a part of the class name. So let's say the teacher changes and now you would like to change the name of the class. We are going to go into school classes and we are going to go, for example, grade 2B. This was the name of the teacher was Brenda, for example, and now the name of the teacher is Wendy. Okay, so all I have to do is double click here, and instead of having 2B, I will have 2W. And here as well, instead of having 2B, I will do 2Wendy, for example, just for more clarification. And that's it. I just save and close. So now if I go to my student list, I'll go to school, students, and I select, let me untick this because it's filtered out, but I want to see grade 2, Wendy, and I can see that the code is 2W, the Wendy didn't affect anything, and here I have my students. Okay, and now let's say, for example, I want to move my students. 3 of my students have left from my grade 2 Wendy class, and they're now marked as inactive. I will go into, let me just close this. I will go into school. I will go into change grades in classes because it's 3 students. I want to do all of them at once. So I will put 2W. This is 2 Wendy here in my current class, and I will get student list. Then I will select the 3 students that left. So let's say, for example, this one, and this one. So there are 3 students here that left. And I'm going to set inactive status. I'm going to say the inactive reason. It's going to be transferred to a different school. And inactivation date, the 31st of December 2020. Okay, now the moment I click fill in values, it will already be recorded. So before you click in fill in values, make sure you have selected the correct students, the correct reason, and the correct date. So I will fill in the values and I will save the new values. And that's it, that's done. You don't have to put anything here in the new class because you are just marking the students as inactive. All right. Now let's look at moving the students from one class to another. I'm going to go into school again, and I'm going to go again into change grades and classes. I will select my current class, let's say it's 2W again, and I will get student list. So this is my student list, and let's say all of them have passed, but there are 5 that have failed. So these 5 have failed, and they will remain in the same class. 5, yes. They will remain in the same class. So I have selected all my students that have passed, and I left 5 out who have failed. So the ones who have passed will go to 3D, for example, and I will fill in new values. So as you can see, they are here. They all moved to 3D, and now I can save new values. As you can see, this button went down, and when it comes back up, like it did right now, it means it's done. Okay, now I can close this. That's it. That's all I have to do. Now, let's say, for example, you have students that passed, but they're going to different classes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to school again. I'm going to change grades in classes again. I will select a random class, let's say grade 6A. I'll get my student list. Okay, I don't have any students there. Let's go to 3D, get student list. Okay, I have some students here. And now let's say I want to move some of them to different grade 3 classes because I just put them here, but they're not supposed to be here. So this one and this one go to a different class. Let's say these 2 as well. they are going to get grade 3A. Okay, and I will fill in new values. Then I will untick all of them and I will tick the next that are going to a different class. And let's say these ones are going to grade 3B. Sorry, grade 3B. And I will fill in new values. And at the same time, these two failed. First, I'm going to untick, and these two have failed. I'm going to, sorry, these two have failed, and they're going to remain in the same class. So their class is 3D, and they're still there. And now, for example, these two have transferred to a different school. I'm going to set inactive status. I'm going to put the reason, and I'm going to put the date, 31st of December 2020. And I'll fill in new values. Okay, so now, as you can see, I have my students that moved to 3B. I have my students that moved to 3A. I have my students that remained in the same class here, and I have my students that have moved. So I can do it all in one go. I just need to be very careful that I'm selecting the correct students and that I'm unticking in order to go and select the next students. So now let's say, okay, I've put inactivation and now I want to put more students have moved to 3C. So because I have these two ticked, I'm going to untick them again, and I'll select the two students that went to 3C, and I will select here 3C, oh, sorry, 3C, fill in new values. Okay, so now I have a whole situation here of different students moving to new schools, moving to new classes, and remaining in the same class. What I will do now, I will save new value, and that's it. So as you can see, when I click save new value, the button goes down, and when it comes back up, it's because it's done. So it went down and it's up. So it means it's done. And that's how we move our students from one class to another.